Hello, everybody, and this is Burklisle Sports Talk here. And today is Friday, July 24th, and opening day was just yesterday. So there's three stories I'm going to get to today. And this first video here, I want to talk about last night's Nationals Yankees game. So last night's Nationals Yankees game, you know what it was? It was the first baseball game of the season. It was opening day, and yes, it was strange. So the Nationals, in winning the World Series, unlike other teams, they did not get to have a ring ceremony. They did not get to raise the banner with fans. There was not 40,000 plus people at a sold out Nationals park. Instead, what we had was zero fans at an empty Nationals park in a game between the Nationals and Yankees, which very well could be a World Series matchup in this upcoming season. But the crowds were pretty much empty, and we got a matchup of Gerrit Cole in his first game with the Yankees against Max Scherzer, who they faced off each other in Game 1 of last year's World Series. Would have been Game 5 until Scherzer got scratched. Scherzer ended up pitching in Game 7. Gerrit Cole did not come out of the bullpen, which ultimately ended up being his final game in an Astros uniform. That was last year. This is now this year. This is Nationals-Yankees. And for the Yankees, right off the bat, notable things I saw from the game that I want to talk about. Giancarlo Stanton, a 400-plus foot home run, and that was his first at-bat of the season for Giancarlo Stanton. And what I've heard about Stanton coming in this game is it appeared that he was losing, he had lost weight, he looked slimmer, maybe more flexible. Even throughout his career, he's had a bunch of injuries where, they don't seem, they just seem like injuries that you get, like strained biceps or strained hamstring or strained groin or whatever. Just injuries like that where a muscle gets hurt and you end up missing, say, a month or so, and not opposed to serious injuries. So Giancarlo seemed like an injury-prone player. Maybe losing that weight will relieve stress from the muscles, and we'll be able to stay healthy and stay on the field. And that first at bat of his season showed us why, and that was over 400 plus feet. That was kind of into the red porches, kind of in center field. That's where he hit it. He's had so many home runs there as a Marlin. He's very familiar with Nationals Park. And then Gerrit Cole made his first start of the season, and Adam Eaton hit a home run against Cole in the first inning. And then Scherzer it was a very mixed start for Scherzer. There's a lot of good, but there's also a fair amount of bad. I give him kind of a B- level start. He struck out the side in the second inning. Fastball, slider, changeup. We looked like Scherzer had it going, but then Aaron Judge drove in a run on a double in the third inning, and then it was 3-1. So again, what we talked about, the good and the bad. 6 strikeouts through 3 innings. That's about an 18 Ks per 9. But on the other hand, the offense drove in 3 runs. So again, very, very mixed results. And then you have a 4-pitch walk, and then Giancarlo Stanton hits an RBI single. It was on a outside fastball, kind of outside of the strike zone. And what I saw it was 97, and he hit the opposite field, which again was very impressive. Maybe that flexibility, and what we've seen in Giancarlo and talking about the weight loss, turned out to be a difference there. And sure, he's always getting long home runs, but just a single like that, and then all of a sudden it was 4-1, and that was in the top of the 5th inning. So then Gerrit Cole, last 2 batters of the 5th inning, what I saw is he struck out Andrew Stevenson on a slider, and then Victor Robles struck out on a fastball, and then Scherzer. So here's the interesting thing about the game. So it was a good game overall, but during the game, what happened is we had a rain delay in the top of the 6th inning. So Scherzer came back out, and he struck out his 11th batter of the game, so he had double-digit strikeouts. And then it poured, and then they called the game off about 11 o'clock, so it's in the books. The Yankees are 1-0, and the Nationals are 0-1, so the first game back, getting back to baseball, this is what happens. And it just turns out that this is the it just turns out that that's how the first game of the year ended by a rainout. So the Nationals in their first game playing that counts since the World Series. Our 0-1 and the Yankees are 1-0 and nothing to worry about. It's just one game, but it is a short season for sure. So Scherzer, final line totals 5.5 in the third inning, so got a total of 16 outs, but allowed 6 hits, 4 earned runs. One thing that he needs to cut down on is 4 walks. I mean, Scherzer normally does not walk that many batters. It may just be one start against a Yankees lineup that's hard to hit, or that's hard to pitch to, so maybe he was careful, ended up getting 4 walks, but still 11 strikeouts. So again, Scherzer needs to cut down the amount of hits given up. Since again was prone to the long ball, that Giancarlo home run was 2 runs right there. And then needs to cut back on the walks. I mean, a 4-pitch walk led to another Giancarlo RBI single to make it 4-1. And the strikeout total was fine, and Scherzer had right around 100 pitches. Which Scherzer, we need Scherzer, the Nationals do, to go 7 innings, get about 11 strikeouts, allow 6 hits or less than a hit per inning, and certainly needs to cut back on the walks. So if he can have a whip around 1, maybe that's a total of right around 7 base runners, maybe less than 1 inning, that would be very ideal for Scherzer. So again, good start, not great. Offense needs to do better too. Granted, it was against Gerrit Cole, who pitched 5 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. In fact, when Adam Eaton hit the home run, that was the second batter of the season. That was Eaton's first at bat of the season. After that, Gerrit Cole did not give up a hit, which we talk about Gerrit Cole pitching against the Nationals. Game 5 of the World Series was in Nationals Park, and he pitched 7 innings in that game. I think he had right around 7 strikeouts, and then the Nationals were able to hit Cole well. You can go all the way back to Game 1 of the World Series where you had that Soto home run, and then RBI double and that Zimmerman home run. So Gerrit Cole had one of his worst starts in a long time, so Cole pretty much picked right off where he left off, sure. He had right around 75 pitches. Could have gone 6, 7 innings in that start alone and could have gotten 7, 8 strikeouts and could have picked right off where he left off. So again, good start for Gerrit Cole. And this is the first of many of his starts in the Bronx. Is on a 9-year contract. Well, Max Scherzer has a 7-year contract. This is year 6 of 7, so will be a free agent after 2021. And what we've seen from Scherzer, and granted, playoff baseball is different, but against the Astros, his last 3 starts, kind of was sure ended up having some good moments in those starts, but never was able to just dominate, mow down batters and get double-digit strikeouts. 7 innings of great baseball. This game, Scherzer had to labor through and was right around 100 pitches. I think his time was just about up when the rain delay started, and that's how the game was called. And by the way, in other news, Juan Soto has tested positive for COVID-19. So Juan Soto will not be playing probably the first series of the season and might end up missing a week. So in order for Juan Soto to come back, what they need is 2 negative tests in a row. And so far that has not happened yet. But this came as major news has happened maybe 3 or 4 hours before first pitch. We heard the news that Juan Soto wasn't going to be playing in the opener. Big disappointment. Juan Soto, really big World Series hero, hit 3 home runs during the series for the Nationals. And not to see Soto out there was a big blow, not only for him, obviously the joy of playing on opening day right after being a world champion, but also test positive. And they say he's asymptomatic, so for the most part he may feel pretty good. He may feel fine, but he can't play baseball right now, since if he does, then this causes a big concern. So something to keep an eye on, not only for the Nationals, but in Major League Baseball. Does this end up being a concern? So far, I've not heard of any other Nationals that have tested positive yet. Hopefully, the best case scenario is Soto can play within another week or so, and will be fine. And hopefully, this is not an issue among the Nationals anymore. But this is definitely a big concern. Just to hear the news, not good in any way. So now you're without Juan Soto. Now the lineup will look very differently. The Nationals will probably play a similar lineup to what they did last night. Andrew Stevenson, basically a speed guy, I guess, contact hitter, doesn't have much power. He may be the temporary left fielder. And you don't have Anthony Rendon as well, minus Rendon, minus Zimmerman. long gone are Bryce Harper and Daniel Murphy. So what the lineup looked like, say, 2 or 3 years ago is now very different than what it looks like now. Just a very different lineup. They're going to have to pitch. So during this current stretch, they have a game against the Yankees on Saturday and Sunday. Then they're playing Toronto. So right now, it's important that they need to still get off to a good start. Sure, they lost just one game, and the good news for both of these teams is, and maybe a little bit more so for the Nationals, based on last year, is there's 8 teams in the playoffs. As long as this team can finish in second place in the division, they're automatically in the playoffs. That's a teaser for next episode. And really, for both of these teams, I think the Yankees are almost certainly in the playoffs, and the Nationals are very likely in the playoffs. So these are 2 playoff teams. Good game. Rainout was unfortunate, and I heard reports of the rainout throughout the game. I saw clouds. It looked like it could very well rain during the game. While I did not know it would be rained out, it ended up being an official game. So that was the first game of the Nationals' new season. I enjoyed watching. It was good to see sports again. Good to see baseball again. It looks like we are just coming back. And thank you for listening. This is it for this edition. And we'll see you next time on Brook Lyle Sports Talk.